Friday, everybody. I hope everyone had a fantastic rest of their Thursday. I hope you're all having a great Friday so far. Today is the day. It is the Time Will Always Tell Awards 2017. We look back in hindsight and determine the best game of 5 years ago, because I can't be bothered to pay attention to what's going on today. Hi, everybody. Kim, Tom, FLCL, Kimby, Zelda, 99, Captain K. I hope you're all doing well. If I missed you, good morning. Tom as well. Can you start again? I forgot to press record on my VCR. See, how's it going? Holy crap, look who it is. Look who it is. Look what the cat dragged in. Boo-foo. 42 months. How's it going, buddy? I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for 42 months. That's a long time. I don't know if you know that. That's a long time. 2017 have some bangers. We'll go through the list very shortly here. It definitely did. Will, good to see you. Frank, how's it going? And of course, Perny. Wenrir, the 2017 BC Awards. Yes. Yeah. The best in Stonecraft. We were even using 2000 BC. Were we even using tools? Super Mario Brothers 3 on the list? No. But it's a list. It is an list. It is an list. I was putting it together and oh boy, is it pretty ridiculous. It is a wildly impressive list of games. So if Cuphead isn't on the list, so I put together. So if you don't know what we're doing today, we're gonna go back and look at 2017 at all the games that came out in 2017, and we're gonna do Game of the Year award. We're gonna do like best indie, best ongoing support. Like the big one for me is Game of the Year, and then also a category called Lasting Impact, which is one that kind of like even 5 years on, it still has impact on the gaming industry as a whole, or it redefined the way we look at things, or created a new genre, or there were a lot of clones of that game that came out afterwards. So that's going to be one of the big ones. So Lasting Impact, Game of the Year, the best indie, best multiplayer game, the best art, the best narrative, best voice acting. So we'll go through a couple categories, and it's going to be a little bit of a collaborative process. So we're going to discuss each one, and we'll do some votes in chat. You all can chime in and see what you think, and we'll kind of collaboratively come up with our picks. I have some ways that I'm leaning in some categories, but I want to talk it out to you all. So, was Breath of the Wild 2017? The Switch came out in 2017, so there are a couple Nintendo games on there. You have absolutely no idea what came out in 2017. Well, first up, the game that gets awarded Game of the Year, I would just like to share with everyone, will win the coveted and most handsome trophy. So, that's what's up for grabs. This is serious. I want you to know, this is clearly serious. So, Bishop, how's it going? So, that isn't an award, it's a punishment. So that's what's on the line, folks. That's what's on the line. You know what, Tom? Let me tell you something. If this goes well, I think next year I might, if we're in a house, I might have to go to a trophy store and get them to make this so that I can have it on the shelf behind me in my office. So, there's that. Anyway, that's what's on the line. bask in its glory. So let's look real quick. Here is the list. Let me make that a little bigger for you. Can you even read that? It's a little, hang on. Let me just do this. Hang on. What, jeez. Do this. All right. Here are the notable games that I pulled out from the list of releases from 2017. Are you ready? Resident Evil Biohazard, Yakuza 0, Neo, For Honor, Sniper Elite 4, Night in the Woods, Hollow Knight, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata, Mass Effect Andromeda, What Remains of Edith Finch, Little Nightmares, Prey, Mario Kart 8, Slime Rancher, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Mario vs. Rabbids, Divinity Original Sin 2, Battle Chasers Night War, Middle-earth Shadow of War, South Park Fractured But Whole, Destiny 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Super Mario Odyssey, Hello Neighbor, Cuphead, PUBG, and Fortnite. So there's that. Those are the highlights. It's not everything, but those are the highlights of what came out in 2017. PUBG gave birth to Fortnite, so PUBG is your everlasting impact. When Andromeda is a highlight, listen, technologically, it was a step forward. Not necessarily a good step, but it was a step forward. You've played exactly 2 from this list, Soric. Let me tell you, there are a lot of games on here that I cannot recommend enough. Good lord. From when you realize what you're getting yourself into, yeah. Yeah. Andromeda is a highlight? Well, yeah. Listen. Sekiro was 2016, yeah. Random Red, good to see you. Stood in the line at midnight in Walmart for Breath of the Wild and the Switch. It was your first time ever doing that for the game? That's awesome. Slime Rancher for Game of the Year. I will die on this hill. That's fair. That's fair. Was A Hat in Time 2017? I don't recall. So if we want to review, so basically in 2017, the Game of the Year at the Game Awards and the DICE Awards and the Game Developers Awards was Breath of the Wild. Sekiro was 2019. There you go. So that'll be up in 2 years. Next year is going to be the Time Will Always Tell Awards 2018. So I played how many minutes of Breath of the Wild? I don't know, like 100 hours. Time, Frank, from 2019 until now, time stopped having meaning. That's a big problem. So some things happened. Yeah, so going through the major awards from that year, Game of the Year basically went to Breath of the Wild. The only exception was the British Academy Games Awards. It went to What Remains of Edith Finch, which they like to do artsy stuff, so that makes sense. Blackbird, how's it going? Oh no. 6,000 minutes. Yeah. There you go. Have I killed any of the big guys? Have I cleared any of the big machines in Breath of the Wild? No. Have I just wandered around and done shrines and explored the map for 100 hours? Yes. Okay, so the Game of the Year that year was Breath of the Wild, basically across the board. Best VR game went to Resident Evil Biohazard. Best art went to Cuphead. Best music went to Nier Automata. Best sound design went to Hellblade. Best performance went to Melina Juergens for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Best game direction went to Breath of the Wild. Best narrative was split between Edith Finch and Horizon Zero Dawn. Best multiplayer game went to PUBG. Yeah, that was the main one. Did it take 100 hours to learn that you can dodge? Still have not dodged a thing in Breath of the Wild. I can tell you that much. FLCL. That should come as no surprise. So yeah, this is not going to be easy. When I came up with this idea, I hadn't looked at what came out in 2017. So the original PUBG lobbies were so good. Listen, they absolutely were. Some of my fondest gaming experiences of the last 5 years is when PUBG was fresh. Honestly, same thing with Fortnite. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out in 2017. That's not on my list. I didn't put that one on my list. I don't know anything about that game. That's probably why. The rest of these, I've mostly played almost all of these. List for you is full of games that other people loved that are just not for you. Even Slime Rancher. Even like Breath of the Wild, Hollow Knight, Night in the Woods. You have like 800 hours on PUBG, Boofs? Yeah. One of my first experiences, I was playing with one cousin of mine. One of our first experiences in PUBG, once it went live, was we dropped into hospital. Landed on the roof of hospital. One other person landed there. And Zark, how's it going? The list is yeah. One other person landed at hospital. And they absolutely destroyed us with a pistol from across the roof. And we were really angry and thought maybe they were hacking or something. And then we noticed that it was Shroud. So then we felt bad, but also a little better about it. So that's my claim to fame. I got yoked by Shroud in PUBG. It is a list, Zark. It is an list. It is an list. So that is what we're looking at to try and figure out our categories and stuff. So, and again, if you missed it, this is what we're looking at. This is for the victor. Game of the Year gets this lovely trophy. So, the story execution in Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely its best aspect. But I do agree that Horizon Zero Dawn, while very well done in all aspects, was definitely not at the top in any one other category. The only one that I think I'm considering Horizon Zero Dawn for, Bishop, would be voice acting. Would be voice acting. And that is purely my own bias towards Ashley Birch. You know what, Boofs? I might do that next year. I intend to do this every year. Look back 5 years ago, and I'm hoping that we'll be in a house and I'll be able to get a trophy maker to actually make this trophy or something very close to it, and we can do that, because that would be hilarious. Yeah, so bias in an award show. Well, the idea behind doing this, the idea behind doing it 5 years post-mortem, is to try and remove as much emotional bias as possible. So let's look at that list and pull out what we think. Let's start with voice acting, since we're on there. Best voice acting out of this list is basically going to come down, in my opinion, to two games. And that's going to be Horizon Zero Dawn, Ashley Birch, or Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, who is Melina Jurgens, I believe. So that's... I mean, listen, Will, the performance of Bafanada should not be understated. There's great voice acting in Hollow Knight, but as far as like really emotional performances, those two stand alone, I think. Although, to be fair, the voice acting in Breath of the Wild was not bad overall. But yeah, so we'll do a poll. I pull up poll management, and the poll that I can run again is Tug wrong? So thank you for that, mods. I love it here. Best voice acting. Yeah, we'll put Destiny 2 in there too, Frank. You're not wrong, actually. That's a good shout. So Destiny 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Hellblade. This will run for 2 minutes. And go. Soul, how's it going? Yeah, we're going back in time. We're going back in time. The answer is always yes. Okay. Mario? Well, they hadn't signed Chris Pratt yet, Tom, so. Can I only vote if I only played one of them? No, you can absolutely vote, even if you haven't played any of them. So if you're just coming in, the games that came out in 2017, just the highlights: Resident Evil, Biohazard, Yakuza 0, Neo, For Honor, Sniper Elite 4, Night in the Woods, Hollow Knight, Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata, Mass Effect Andromeda, What Remains of Edith Finch, Little Nightmares, Prey, Mario Kart 8, Slime Rancher, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Mario vs. Rabbids, Divinity Original Sin 2, Battle Chasers Night War, Middle-earth Shadow of War, South Park Fractured But Whole, Destiny 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Super Mario Odyssey, Hello Neighbor, Cuphead, PUBG, and Fortnite. No, I don't think we did know that. I do have a screenshot of the list, Zelda. Thank you. I had done that with the intention of doing that. I'll post it in Streaming Talk. So if you want to see the list, it's in Streaming Talk. So currently it would be the best voice acting, which is between Destiny 2, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, and Horizon Zero Dawn. As far as what the industry said, the industry gave it to Melina Jurgens, who was the voice actress for Senua in Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. She's, stunning. So with 8 votes, Horizon Zero Dawn takes the fan poll, which I will take into account when I award it anyway, mostly ignoring what you've said. So, rigged. Biohazard had good voice acting too. We don't talk about Biohazard, Will. I can tell you right now, Biohazard is not winning any of these categories. I hated that game. That game was not fun, particularly when you have Mikey, who knows the game inside out, dropping scare bits at all the right points. I hate that game. It is a great game. It is not a great game. It is a terrible game for terrible people. So, anyway. Let's agree to disagree. No, I'll just acknowledge that I'm right and you're wrong. It is the best horror game of 2017. Did you not see that Mass Effect Andromeda is on this list? Will? So, anyway. So our first award for best voice acting goes to Ashley Birch or Horizon Zero Dawn. Congratulations. Enjoy your trophy. It's a horrible game. It's a nightmare. So, yeah. Yeah. There you go. Speech. Can we get Ashley Birch on stream? I highly recommend following Ashley Birch on TikTok. She is hilarious. And just it's just nonsense in the best possible way. Okay. All right. That is best voice acting. Maybe show the trophy for a few more seconds. Listen, everybody, I can leave the trophy up. Everyone wants to see the trophy, which I totally understand. So we'll leave it up. Omni, how's it going? So, next category. Kelly Pond, how's it going? I'm doing, Omni. Very tired. It's a dumb mental health day, but I'm gonna have fun. Okay, so our next category is going to be best narrative. So that's going to be an interesting one. So best narrative can go a couple different ways. PUBG, yes. I mean, listen, Fortnite has a pretty interesting narrative. It didn't in 2018 or 2017, but since then. So best narrative, to recap, the Game Awards gave it to What Remains of Edith Finch. The DICE Awards gave it to Horizon Zero Dawn. And the British Academy gave it to Night in the Woods. This one's going to take a little bit more conversation because there are a lot of games in here that have fantastic narratives. Night in the Woods, Hollow Knight actually has a really interesting narrative. It is not direct and in your face. Joking aside, Resident Evil Biohazard has a really interesting narrative. Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild has an interesting narrative. Nier Automata has a little bit of a narrative. Just a touch of one. What Remains of Edith Finch was fantastic, has an incredible story that it tells. Hellblade has an incredible narrative. Divinity Original Sin 2 has a pretty incredible story. Destiny 2 has a pretty wild narrative. Cuphead has a pretty wild narrative. So we're going to have to narrow this down. Yeah, Soul, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a couple polls for this one to try and narrow it down. You haven't played Edith Finch, but you haven't and you're gonna do it. See, how long did it take me on stream? Like 3.5 hours? Definitely worth the time. So we're going to do a big poll for best narrative, and then we'll take like the top 3 from that one, and then we'll run it down from there. So, could not end poll. Go away. Could not delete poll. I can view no, I don't want to view the results. I want to... Oh my god, Twitch, come on. Poll. There we go. Question. This is best narrative. So, Resident Evil 7, Horizon Zero Dawn. Also, if I can spell. Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata, Edith Finch. I can't add any more. Crap. All right, we'll do that one first. We're gonna do that one first, and then we'll do a second one with more options. I could Omni, but this typically gets a little bit more engagement. Yeah, Origins is definitely going to get there, Battle Shoes. I'll say good to see you. So this is Best Narrative Part 1. Then we'll run another poll because Little Nightmares, Prey, Hellblade, Divinity Original Sin 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, and honestly, Battle Chasers Night War, which probably won't win any awards, but it wins the award of my heart. I think maybe the award for most underrated game of the year. That might be one that we have to do. I think it's only 5 options. Yeah, I couldn't add any more. So, all right, that poll's running. I'm just going to refill my coffee super fast. Hang on. Does the award for Tug's Heart have an equally bad trophy? No, Omni. The award for the game of my heart, that one gets exclusive access to my OnlyFans. The award for the most interesting RPG mechanic. Yeah, Battle Chasers Night War is so underrated. It's criminally underrated. Now I have to get into game development. It's just pictures of my barely functioning but moist joints. Bufu, you're not supposed to spoil it. Okay, so the top 3 from that one were Horizon Zero Dawn, Nier Automata, and Edith Finch. Hang on, I gotta write this down. Let me get my notebook. Not my Dungeon 23 notebook, which starts on Sunday, right? Okay. You ever open up a notebook that you keep a bunch of notes in and wonder what the hell a note is? This just says custom rubber muscles. I don't. And it's underlined twice. I have no recollection of where that came from. So anyway. The top 3 were HCD, Nier Automata, and Edith Finch. And rubber muscles, apparently. It's a good thing I take good notes. I wanted a Mr. Handsome. Oh, maybe that says masks? It might say I can't read my own writing. It might say masks. All right, anyway. Next poll. It's a 2-minute poll, Zelda. Only long enough if you were paying attention. Okay. So long, I know. Best narrative. So now we have Prey, Hellblade, Divinity Original Sin 2. I'm abbreviating these, so sorry. Not sorry. Destiny 2. And Assassin's Creed Origins. Is that all the ones that I wanted in there? Yeah. Okay. Round 2 of the prelims for narrative. Being unable to read your own notes weeks after writing it? Now that is a mood. Yeah. Boofs. The new update is pretty great. We haven't gotten to the Mistlands on the server yet. If you want to jump in, please do. We have a community server in Discord. Zell can send you the password if you want to jump in. It's really fun. We're only on Divinity Original Sin 2. Yes. So the options are Prey, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Divinity: Original Sin 2, Destiny 2, and Assassin's Creed Origins. Zunder, what's going on? Be nice if Firebots had a vent for polls. Yeah, we've downed the Elder. We're probably going to kill Bone Mass next week. It's super slow progression, like a month between bosses. So you have plenty of time to catch up. And get to the new stuff. And you're always welcome. We'd love to have you. There's like, I don't know. What was it, like 11 or... There's like 11 or 14 something people on the server now. We're all spread out. The starting island is the biggest starting island I've ever seen on any seed. So there's plenty of room. Motor fight is pretty tough these days. With this many people on the server, it's going to be brutal, Frank. It's going to be a tough fight. All right, couple seconds left to get your votes in. Hellblade is leading, coming around the final bend. So this is votes for best narrative. So I'm going to take the top ones from both of these polls, which is Hellblade, Origins, and Divinity 2. Okay, so that's the top 6. So best narrative is coming down between Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Zero Dawn, Nier Automata, Edith Finch, Divinity: Original Sin 2, Hellblade, and we're going to be short one spot. So let's do this. Let's do two heats of 3. And we'll take the top one from the 2 heats. So 2 more polls, and then we'll have the final one, the final runoff between the 2. So here you go. Horizon Zero Dawn, Nier Automata, Edith Finch. Drummel, how's it going? Boom, boom, boom. So then the winner of this one will go up against the winner of Hellblade, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Divinity: Original Sin 2. And then we'll give the award for the best narrative. This one I knew was going to be... This one was going to be a toughie. Ooh, a bookmark. Give that to my daughter. Where did that come from? Why did a bookmark just come out of nowhere? I have concerns. Some sort of award show. Oh, it's some sort of awards. Why is Nier behind? Stop the count. Only choosing games you've played. Most of these you haven't. I've played a lot of these games. I haven't played Nier. So my vote is decided for me because I like sleeping in your bed instead of the couch. Does someone have strong opinions on one of these, Bishop? Will you buy those games that were award winners if you haven't bought them? I think I own... Is that my face? No, that's Mr. Handsome. I don't look that good. What if I played Nier? It's on my list, Kelly Pot. Nier is very, very near the top of my list. You got 30 seconds left. Ooh, it's close. The list, yes. Mm-hmm. A third of her first tattoo is dedicated to Horizon Zero Dawn for a reason. I do recall when I was playing it. Oh, it's neck and neck. Horizon Zero Dawn and Edith Finch are tied going into the gate. It's a tie. Battle Shoes, so many. 2017 was a stacked year. we haven't even gotten into the crazy stuff. I don't know how we're gonna. So Horizon and Edith progress on. So now we're gonna do Hellblade, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Divinity: Original Sin 2. This is the final heat before the final award. Patch. So this is, what did I just say? Hellblade, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Divinity: Original Sin 2. Two minutes and go. Patch. Did you know scientists recently grew human vocal cords? The results speak for themselves. You can go. Thank you for the bits, Patch. You're welcome to leave. Dot, how's it going? Yeah, if you're just coming in, the list of games that came out in 2017, just the highlights. Origins is the Egyptian one. Yes. Yes. Also, hi, Rupture. Hope you're doing well. List of games that came out in 2017, just the highlights, the ones that I pulled out. Resident Evil Biohazard, Yakuza 0, Neo, For Honor, Sniper Elite 4, Night in the Woods, Hollow Knight, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata, Mass Effect Andromeda, What Remains of Edith Finch, Little Nightmares, Prey, Mario Kart 8, Slime Rancher, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Mario vs. Rabbids, Divinity: Original Sin 2, Battle Chasers Night War, Middle-earth: Shadow of War, South Park: Fractured But Whole, Destiny 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Super Mario Odyssey, Hello Neighbor, Cuphead, PUBG, and Fortnite. Game of the Year Andromeda, yeah. Yeah, the Switch came out in 2017. So all of the original Switch games. Explain the Yakuza series to you. I can't, Bob. I've played a couple hours of one. I think I played Yakuza 0. Which one did you make me play, Bishop? Was it 0? That's all the Yakuza I've played. It's almost like you stream for a living, right? You don't hear Ark Survival. When did Ark officially release, though? That's the thing. What did I do? Ark is quite decent. Yeah. I played Yakuza Kiwami. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Did I ever play Red Dead Redemption 2? No, Boofs. I have not. I haven't played any of the Red Dead games. Okay. Poll is done. Hellblade takes that one by a whisker over Divinity. So here's what we'll do. Since we had 2 in the first one, we'll do a runoff of the last 4. 2015, okay. So what we're going to do is the final runoff to determine the winner of Best Narrative 2017. We'll do a runoff between the 4. Best Narrative 2017 is Horizon Zero Dawn. What Remains of Edith Finch? Great game. That's too long to put it. I can't put the full title, so I'll just put Edith Finch. Hellblade. And Divinity Original Sin 2. This one's going to run. We'll run this one for 3 minutes. New poll. Final poll for Best Narrative. Can't wait till next year when he has to do 2018 and he realizes that the list of games isn't as good and he started this bit and has to go through with it. I know. At least it'll be a little more clear cut. Like, I was thinking about what'll happen when I get to this year. I think 2022 is actually gonna be not quite as much as 2017, but 2022 might be pretty good because there's a lot of really good games that came out this year. A lot. Good luck, Patch. 2018 will probably just be God of War. Maybe. I haven't even looked at the 2018 games yet. I'll worry about that next December. 2017 Part 2 next year. Have a chance for people to redeem themselves to vote for Nier. Red Dead Redemption 2 is 2018. Okay, there you go.
A kind gesture.
Ash, I will ban you. Suggestion: we vote Vest Scare Game and Tug plays the winner for a sub goal. Thank you for the biddies, Ash. Yakuza series in a nutshell is this. Kiryu, I'm gonna retire and live a slow life. Tojo Clan kicks in the door. Hey Kiryu, it's our biannual time to put up your sweet jacket and wreck out the town. Sounds right. I have no fear, so it wouldn't matter. Wow. I did not expect Horizon Zero Dawn to run away with this. Fallout 76 was 2018. Listen, Bufu, we have a best ongoing support category. And we also have a lasting impact.
Gesture.
Ash, thank you for the biddies. Thank you for the bribe to not ban you. Horizon Zero Dawn isn't the best narrative. It's just a game that people like. It has a good story. 76 is 2018. Yeah. It doesn't have to be good to be lasting impact. No, lasting impact is not necessarily the best game. It's about the game that, through good or ill, kind of changed the way that games got developed from that point forward, by establishing a new genre, by really setting the bar higher for certain types of games. Lasting impact is going to be the most difficult one for me to award, because there are a lot of games in this list that had some significant impact. Okay. It's over. It's done. Best narrative goes to, drumroll, best narrative goes to Horizon Zero Dawn. So congratulations to Horizon Zero Dawn for winning best narrative. That agrees with the DICE Awards, who also gave Horizon Zero Dawn best narrative. That is moist. Robot Dinosaurs. I'm still excited. If you haven't heard, NCSoft, the company behind Guild Wars 2 and other MMOs, is developing a Horizon Zero Dawn MMO. And I think that could be really good. So I am excited about that. I'm quite excited about that one. I think that'll be good. Good luck, Ash. Thank you for the lurk. E.T. is a terrible movie for terrible people. Anyway. So let's go into the next one, which is, none of these are going to be easy awards, by the way, because there's a lot of options for all of them. We're going to go into best art. So best art and art direction. This one is going to be difficult. So of the list that we have, what would some nominees be for best art? Obviously, I think pretty clearly, let me put this on top of chat. Pretty clearly, art direction. There are some clear nominees here. Cuphead is an obvious nominee. I think Hollow Knight is stunning. Rental Panda, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, Cuphead, I think, is stunning. Cuphead is incredible. Like, the work that went into Cuphead is ridiculous. Hollow Knight, Nier has incredible art direction. If you haven't seen, I'm just going to keep circling back to this, because if you haven't seen the art on Battle Chasers Night War, it's gorgeous. Fortnite, hands down. Listen, Frank, have you played Fortnite on Unreal 5.1? You should play Fortnite on Unreal 5.1, the new update. It's crazy. I don't think so. Art direction, I like the mixed sci-fi setting, and I like some elements of Horizon Zero Dawn, but artistically, it's very safe in kind of the same way that the story is safe. It's well told, but it's a safe story. I feel the same way about the art, and I'm much more inclined to award people who pushed the boat out with art. Um, let's just all be thankful that Supergiant didn't release anything during 2017, because I would just award it to Supergiant and move on. Because I love Supergiant's art direction. Gen Z is their main artist, and she's just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's the Hindsight Awards, Panda. It's then we don't have emotion, and everybody has a chance to at least play some of them, right? But robot dinosaurs. So obviously, we're gonna have Cuphead is gonna be a big one, right? Cuphead is gonna be. Let's get our list going for best art. Cuphead. Hollow Knight, 100%. Nier has incredible art direction. Breath of the Wild is definitely something to consider. Splatoon, I don't think Splatoon didn't come out. The Switch released in 2017. I believe Splatoon came out the next year. Hellblade had pretty good artistic direction. Game of the year every year is there. He is. There he is. We could put Hellblade on this list. I think Little Nightmares will probably. No, you know what? I'm not going to put. I disagree with Hellblade on art direction. Sound, everything else, yes. Visually, they played it kind of safe. Splatoon 2 is 2017? Shut up. What? Really? Yeah. I don't think Hellblade didn't really push it out with graphics. Night in the Woods definitely has really cool art direction, and then the last, as much as I want to put Battle Chasers Night War in there, I think Little Nightmares also has to get a nomination for the vote. The original Splatoon came out on your birthday in 2015. It came out on the Wii U? Slime Rancher needs to be on the list? Splatoon? Okay. Yeah. You know what? We could definitely do a family category. Family game category. I think that'll be a good one. That's just we could also just call that the Nintendo Award. Okay, but right now we're doing art. Best art. Here's your choices. Cuphead, Hollow Knight, Nier Automata, Night in the Woods, and Little Nightmares. Poll is up. Get your votes in. Slime Rancher definitely has very cutesy art direction, but it doesn't really do anything like hyper interesting or really push the envelope artistically like every other game on that list kind of does. Hollow Knight, there are so, like, if you want to look at like what I'm talking about with that, look at how many games that you see now and you go, that looks like Hollow Knight. That's what I'm talking about, where you have such a unique and like distinct artistic take that either people start to imitate it or it just like it stands on its own as its own thing. Like with Cuphead. Cuphead is definitely the favorite in this category. Let's be honest. Hollow Knight looks like a Limbo. Yeah. I don't know, but like, see, Cuphead is probably the favorite, but not necessarily what the people are going to vote for. That's why, like, the poll is not the be all end all. If I agree with the poll has some weight, but my vote counts the most. Nesselheim, good morning. Nair has a very distinct style too, Dot. Aussie, how's it going? It's not a dictatorship, it's a pretend democracy. There's a difference. There's a difference. Also, this is what we're fighting for, folks. This is what's up for grabs. You don't have to work today, so like the USA, exactly. Exactly. Votes for Cuphead, but Little Nightmares would be your second choice, yeah. Hello Neighbor also has a very distinct... Hello Neighbor, I think, is one of the underrated games on this list. As far as, like, lasting impact goes, Hello Neighbor might have a shout in the lasting impact category. My kids still play and talk about Hello Neighbor, which is saying something. So I'm a little disappointed that Night in the Woods is not getting any votes. Good art directors exist? Yeah. See Supergiant Games. I'm not a bully. I'm just right more than you're comfortable with. You don't remember Night in the Woods? Night in the Woods is gorgeous, though. Okay, so Hollow Knight wins the vote, beating out Cuphead. Hang on, let me show some images from Night in the Woods. There you go. So this is the art style of Night in the Woods. You probably recognize this. It's pretty distinct, kind of like that paper cut style. But it's really well executed and like a really pretty game. Yeah, kinda has a Cult of the Lamb feel. Yeah. Yeah, Cult of the Lamb definitely followed this kind of style. 100%. Okay, so you all... Mags, how's it going? Oh, it's Bacon Day. Nice. Little Misfortune 2. Yeah, a lot of indie games have followed that art style. Okay, so the vote went to Hollow Knight for Best Art Direction with Cuphead in second. Casting my vote, I'm going to give it to... I'm going to give it to Cuphead. It was close enough that the weight of my vote, it has to go to Cuphead. The art in Cuphead is so... It's special because it's not something that anybody can really ever imitate unless they have unlimited funding. Yeah, Hades was later. Hades is next year. Right? 2018 was Hades. And then also next year's Hades 2. Anyway, expensive, yes. Yeah. You're literally playing those old cartoons. Yeah. So I have to give art to Cuphead. The vote was close. Hollow Knight is definitely a close second because Hollow Knight's art style has been mimicked so much in so many subsequent games. Next year will be the Hades Awards. You're not wrong. Very unique in video games, but not unique in general. Yes. But this is about video games, Bruce. So you made my point for me. And no one can really imitate that. So let's do Family Game next. That's a category I hadn't considered, aka the Nintendo Awards. So Family Game, a game that you could sit down and play with the whole family from this list. I would say Slime Rancher, Mario Kart, Breath of the Wild, Resident Evil 7. 1.0 Valk. Depends on the family. We'll go with like generic family. I mean, I play Fortnite with my kids. I think that Fortnite might be on there too. Consider it like the family friendly, like little kids kind of thing. So it would have to be multiplayer. It would have to be multiplayer, either co-op or otherwise. So, although Slime Rancher shooting people in the face can't be a family game, it definitely can. Total War Warhammer 2 is good family fun. Yeah. Family friendly game or play with the family style game. Yeah, Resident Evil 7 is all about family. I think it's more play with the family style. So it has to be a multiplayer game and something that is palatable for the whole family, from grandparents down to small kids. Yeah, Mario Odyssey. This, like I kind of joked, it's basically gonna be the Nintendo award. So I think it comes down to Mario vs. Rabbids, Super Mario Odyssey, and Mario Kart. We could throw Slime Rancher in there too, just as a fun for the fam to watch and take turns playing kind of thing. So let's do family game. We've got Mario Odyssey. Mario vs. Rabbids, which is, if you've ever wanted to get into like XCOM style games, Mario vs. Rabbids and Mario vs. Rabbids 2, the one that came out this year, are the best entry level games in those categories. They're fantastic. They're genuinely fantastic. Okay, Mario Odyssey, Mario vs. Rabbids, Mario Kart, and Slime Rancher. So it's Mario, 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 and Slime Rancher. We'll throw... You know what? I'm going to throw Hello Neighbor on there, because jokes aside, it's worth a shout. Okay. Never knew what kind of game Mario vs. Rabbids was. Never would have thought it'd be compared to XCOM. It is Super Mario Brothers in XCOM. That's what it is. It's a turn-based tactical Mario game with the Rabbids from Ubisoft. It's one of the only, I think it might be the only Mario title that has ever been developed by a company other than Nintendo. One of the only times they've allowed their stuff to be developed outside of in-house. I think it's the only third-party Mario game ever. And it did so well, they made a second, which came out this year. Xenoblade, I never played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I've never played any of the Xenoblade games. Open world category, Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, AC Origins. Open world game, that's a good shout too. We can throw that category in. Square Enix made the RPG series. Did they make Super Mario RPG? Is it XCOM style or missing every 99% chance to hit XCOM style? Yes. Not many in the modern era, though, yeah. You'd have to add Ghost Recon Wildlands to the list. It's such a terrible game. It's really, like, I wanted to like that game so much. To no one's surprise, Mario Odyssey is legit, Mikey. It's really fun. My kids still play it now, because you can have one person plays as Mario, one person plays as the Hat. which is a really interesting mechanic because you have to work together. It's super interesting. A lot of the arcade games, the Philips CDI, bunch of MS-DOS games. So we'll call it the first one in the modern era. It's very niche, so no shot at wins. Square made Legend of the Seven Stars. Someone in-house made the other Mario RPGs, but the first one was by Square. Oh, okay. Gotcha. To no one's surprise, Mario Kart is running away with this, which, to be fair, we still play Mario Kart to this day. Because it's Mario Kart 8. They have map packs. A new map pack just came out like a week ago. So we've been doing that. So I definitely agree with that. Mario Kart 8. It really is ageless. The first Mario Kart on the SNES is one of my favorite games of all time. Used to play that for hours on end. There was one time I had a friend sleep over and we stayed up until dawn playing battle mode in Mario Kart 8 on Battle Map 4, just the square one. I think I ended up beating him 111-11 by the time dawn broke. He would not give up. Mario Kart is a big inspiration to the Bloodborne kart release. Yeah. It's a solid little racer. It's a lot of fun. It's really interesting that compared to 8, if you play 8 and then you go back to the older versions of Mario Kart, they get more difficult to the older you go, which is funny. Not a bully. I offered for him to give up a bunch of times. Okay. Immediately think of Mario Kart on the SNES. Yeah, the OG was one of the best games ever. There is still a track. I think my brother has our old SNES with our Mario Kart cartridge. And there is still one track where the ghost on time trial is my dad, and none of us have been able to beat his time on that one track. I don't know what he did to set that time. But it is like, we don't even get close. He must have glitched. I demand to know what he did to make that happen. Okay. Next category, let's do open world, because that sounds like a good category. There were several open world games that came out this year, and that's something that definitely gains prevalence as it moves up. So we'll do that. So the next one is going to be best open world game. So among this list, Yakuza 0 is kind of an open world, right? Not super open world, but open world. It is, right? So we're gonna Yakuza 0. Horizon Zero Dawn. We've got Breath of the Wild. Obviously. Middle Earth. Yeah, Nier's open world is not... It's not really? Is Fortnite open world? AC Origins, right? That's definitely open world. And Shadow of War. Middle Earth Shadow of War is open world, right? Destiny 2 is not really open world. You're basically playing in nodes. So, Judy, how's it going? Yeah, Nier's open world is not something you really engage with. Shadow of War was pretty limited, but Slime Rancher, same thing, is not really open world. It's more you're playing through nodes. Same with Hollow Knight's not really an open world. Andromeda, I guess, technically qualifies. Let's throw Shadow of War. So this is Middle-earth, Shadow of War. It's fairly open world. So we'll get that going. The Nemesis system. Stupid freaking Warner Brothers. We should have known from that point, Mikey. We should have known a lot sooner than that. But that point should have been like, yeah, okay, Warner Brothers. All right. The vote is up. Speaking of interesting mechanics that Warner Brothers copyrighted and sues anyone who puts anything that resembles it in there. Best open world game. The vote is up. Breath of the Wild has jumped out to an early and unsurprising lead. I said at the time when Breath of the Wild came out that it kind of... Breath of the Wild's open world was one of the first open worlds where you can just freely go wherever you want because of the climb mechanic, because of the glider and stuff. It really kind of made the open world feel like you can actually go places. Not like Skyrim where you're like jump climbing up the side of a mountain that you're not really supposed to be able to get up on top. Sound design is definitely going to be a category, Souls. It's going to be sound design / soundtrack. But yes, that's one of the upcoming categories. You can't have a year where Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice comes out and not talk about sound design. Best game that has an open world or game that did open world the best? Open world the best, I think, would be the best way. It's also known as the Hellblade category, yeah. She actually agrees on this one. You're safe. Breath of the Wild for the win. I love it. It really did. It didn't set the standard, Valk. I think it redefined the standard for open world. Always fun being smack talked by the orc that killed you when you found them again. Yeah. The Nemesis system is really great. I've mentioned before, I've played well over 100 hours on Breath of the Wild, and it's only exploring the world, like doing the little temples and stuff. I haven't done any quest progression or anything. It's just wandering around the open world, getting smoked by a dragon, and then wandering around a little more, you know. We thought we had an open world, then Breath of the Wild came out, and we're like, oh, we can actually go places and do things. Pretty much. Pretty much. Poll is running down. We got about 30 seconds left. After this open world vote, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to do sound design. We're going to do multiplayer, best multiplayer game. We're going to do best indie game. We're going to do best ongoing support. And we're going to do best lasting impact, and then game of the year. I don't know how long this all is going to take. It could have taken anywhere from an hour to the entire stream, but we'll see how it goes. I didn't really have a plan. Multiplayer is going to be contentious. Yes, it is. As well as lasting impact. I think lasting impact is going to be probably the one that we have to talk about the most. Okay. With a 10 vote win over Horizon Zero Dawn, Breath of the Wild wins best open world game, which is in no way surprising. Open world is Breath of the Wild. I'm just writing these down so I don't forget. So I can recap them later. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take a very quick 2-minute break. I have to get some more coffee. I have to make sure... I don't think my kids have gotten up out of bed and gotten breakfast yet because it's Christmas break and they've slowly devolved into teenagers over the last 3 days. So I want to make sure that they get some food in them. And then we'll come back. We'll do sound design, multiplayer, best multiplayer, best indie, best ongoing support, best lasting impact, and game of the year. So I'll be back in 2 minutes. Now's a great time to grab a drink for yourself, grab a snack, get up and move around if you can, take your meds if you haven't. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. See you soon. Just to let my Inquisitor love Varric so much better than Bianca. Yeah. Come on, come on, come on. I don't like this game anymore. This game is dumb. This guy's deck is ridiculous. Think I'm good. Wait. I need one more note. Yeah, we're good. Okay. I didn't take the heal. That's gonna cost me. Oh no! Faker! I should have been healing, not flexing. No!
Don't listen to them, wife poet. Get that need for speed.
Jesus Christ. That gets like... How does that not bother you?
Startle alerts were more for tug than for white point. Tug banana, tug banana, tug banana, tug banana, tug banana, tug banana.
What did I do?
Beat a man for the right to his daughter.
Rehearsing the cantata,
I mean-
tears. Papa walked in at the climax.
Papa...
Is that an obscene song?
No, it's beautiful. Very poetic. Papa couldn't understand why the rehearsal was in the nude. He was furious. He pulled an old crossbow from behind the wardrobe. Luckily, his vision isn't what it used to be.
Okay, I like Dandelion significantly more now. You know how I know you're old? You call it a handle instead of a I'm leaving. Call it a handle instead of a username. Is there... Okay, so is there something specific I should be looking for? Or be on the lookout for? Okay, that's the wrong scene. I'm back. I'm here. I got a snack. My kids are in for a rude awakening. They go back to school on Tuesday. It's gonna take... I'm gonna need a crane and a winch to get them out of their rooms on Tuesday. Okay. Usernames and handles. Listen. Zero, how's it going? Good morning. All right. Next up. So, to recap, what we have so far is we've done best voice acting, best narrative, best art, best family game, and best open world game. Those categories are done. Next up is going to be sound design. I'm going to play SnowRunner. SnowRunner's a great game. Sound design, which we can talk about. I don't even know if we should have a vote about this. So, again, here's the list of games that came out. Cuphead definitely gets a shout. Prey, I think, gets a shout as well. And Biohazard probably also gets a shout. But I think this is really Hellblade's award to lose. Let's run the poll anyway. Prey is a fun time. Alex, how's it going? I haven't played Prey yet. South Park? Honestly, South Park's, like, everything is pretty good. But my personal vote for best narrative was What Remains of Edith Finch. But the winner was Horizon Zero Dawn for Best Narrative. Also, I feel bad for Divinity Original Sin 2. Because it's an incredible game that is just buried under a year of incredible games. Okay, so we have Prey, Hellblade, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. What else did I say for sound design? I think that was it. Edith Finch was so strange. It's so interesting, though. Hellblade, Prey, Biohazard. There was another one that I mentioned for sound design. I can't remember what it is. Cuphead gets a shout. Just for music and everything about it. Yeah, Divinity, I would agree with that, Boof. I think Divinity is much better with other people. We'll put Divinity Original Sin 2 in there for sound design too. But like I said, it would have to be an overwhelming poll against my opinion that this is Hellblade's category to lose, for it not to go to Hellblade. But we'll have the vote anyway. So the vote is up for best sound design. Prey, Hellblade, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Cuphead, Divinity Original Sin 2. It's definitely a good time, Alex. I just think it's much more entertaining with friends. One was the same way. You can only rock, paper, scissors yourself so many times, you know? Hellblade wasn't just a unique idea, it was super well executed. Hellblade, the second one I think is going to be even better. Hellblade was an intense experience. That was one of the more intense, like, Hellblade got to me more than any horror game that I played. I think broader appeal is what you're looking for, Boofs. Because Divinity's target audience is people like me. Which I love. I think 2023, Quaint Cat. I don't think there's a date, but I think it's supposed to come out 2023. I want Hellblade 2 to break people, yeah. It does look like an experience. Alex, it is like this category, the sound design. There are moments where you're walking through the game and you have to play the game with headphones on. You cannot understate how disorienting it is to be going through areas that have like visual distortion and then just hear echoing whispers all around your head telling you to do different things. It is intense. You need to be like, I was going to play it one day and a friend sent me a message saying, probably don't play this until you're in a good headspace. And absolutely right. Only play that game if you're in a good headspace because it's going to drag you down to dark places. Documentary about the making of? Yeah, Quaint Cat. It's an incredible game. It's really intense. Really, really intense. The second one's going to be wild. It's going to take me forever to be able to play the second one. It took me forever to be able to play the first one. But Tigers fan, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Yeah, definitely be in a good headspace the day that you play Hellblade. Okay, sound design, to no one's surprise, goes to Hellblade. No surprise to me. Okay, so now we're going to start getting into the nitty gritty, into the big ones. Who's going to win the next trophy? watched streams and had to skip some parts. That's totally fair, Queen Cat. I understand that completely. 100% agree. Hope for improved combat? Yes. Yeah. I talked about when they announced the Witcher 1 remake, my desire and fervent hope that they do not put the Witcher 3 combat system into the Witcher 1 remake. Because the combat system in Witcher 1 was so close to being brilliant. And then they just went completely generic and boring with 2 and 3. Voice acting. So recap of what we've done so far. Best voice acting went to Ashley Birch for Horizon Zero Dawn. Best narrative went to Horizon Zero Dawn. Best art went to Cuphead. Family game went to Mario Kart 8. Best open world game went to Breath of the Wild. Best sound design goes to Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Tigers fan, if you play it on a higher difficulty, you have to get your timings right and your cadences right. I'm not saying it was good. I'm saying that the premise, the idea, the concept behind it was really good. It was just not executed well, but there was a nugget of something brilliant in there that I'm really sad they didn't continue to develop, because it was so unique and it could have made it like their thing. That's more so not because it was good, but because the idea was good. That's what I was hoping for. And in the remake, if they take it and clean it up and make it work. Hellblade gets you out of the shadows. Yeah. Hellblade puts me in the shadows. Best narrative, Horizon 1, but I chose Divinity, for example. Yeah. A lot of it, it's going to come down to some of the community votes will sway my vote. But yeah. Think that people would be unhappy not having the Witcher 3 style of combat. That's fair, but Witcher 3 combat is not great. I know, Mikey. I absolutely know that. Okay, let's go into the next one. We're getting into big categories now. So now this one is going to be best multiplayer game. Which is going to be a contentious category. Again, here's the list of games. So as far as multiplayer games, we have For Honor. We have Mario Kart 8. We have Divinity Original Sin 2. Destiny 2. PUBG and Fortnite. So there's a lot in there. There is a lot in there. So this is going to be multiplayer. We might, I think. Yeah, Cyber, you're not wrong. Sound design was Hellblade. PUBG at the time was the multiplayer game. We're not necessarily talking... Yeah, we're going to have to do multiple rounds. Oh, Splatoon 2. Thank you. Let me add that to the list. I keep forgetting about that. Okay. So, multiplayer, it's going to be a couple heats. Kind of like we did with narrative. So, multiplayer games. We have For Honor. Mario Kart 8. Divinity Original Sin 2. We'll do that one. No, let's put Destiny 2 in this heat as well. Okay. All right, so that's the first heat for multiplayer game is up. So this one, the next one is going to be PUBG, Fortnite, Splatoon 2. and any others that I forgot. So this one is between For Honor, Mario Kart 8, Divinity Original Sin 2, and Destiny 2. So this is best multiplayer game, and this is however you play multiplayer games. So if you like playing co-op games, then Divinity is going to get your vote, or Destiny is going to get your vote if you like doing that kind of stuff. Mario Kart is also just a fantastic multiplayer game. I mean, that's a given. The next heat is going to be the Titans. PUBG, Fortnite, Splatoon 2. Oh, Mario vs. Rabbids is multiplayer too. You can do versus and whatnot in that. Destiny 2, I have gone back to so many different times, and not having a group of people to play it with is probably the reason why it hasn't stuck. Because playing it solo is really frustrating and kind of exhausting. I'm really interested, like, you gave For Honor a pity vote. That game is still going and still has a fairly healthy community. Well, healthy in that there's numbers, not healthy in the community. The community is it makes the League of Legends community look like children on a playground. The For Honor community is incredibly toxic. Oh, I am nomming on a stroopwafel. Alex, yes. For Honor looks like so much fun, but you never played it. Toxic is putting it nicely, yeah. Salty, good to see you. Katie Bont, good to see you as well. It's those particular types of games, Dot, that seem to attract a very particular type of person. Chivalry gets a lot of that, Mordhau gets a lot of that, and For Honor gets a lot of that. A lot of people who like to play Yahtzee are attracted to those types of games for some reason, and that just causes the entire community to become a absolute dumpster fire. Mim, how's it going? I don't know what it is about those types of games, but the number of those types of people in those communities is incredible. Like, it is astounding. The game, Mordhau, is so much fun. The skill ceiling in Mordhau is ridiculous. Okay, so the first heat, we've got... I need to write this down. Why did I put my notebook away? I'm doing things. Let me go back to my muscle mask page. Okay. So the first heat goes to Mario Kart 8. With Dose 2 coming in second. Terrible at it, but had a blast. Same. It's really fun. Okay, so second heat for multiplayer games is... we have Splatoon 2, PUBG, Fortnite, and Mario vs. Rabbids. Just throwing that in there because you can actually play it multiplayer. So, get that going. That's Heat 2 for multiplayer, and then we'll take the top ones from this heat and the top ones from the last heat and have a runoff to determine which one is going to win. Keep in mind that this is just the award for multiplayer game, and then we're going to have a ongoing long-term support category as well, which is next. Then we're going to have the best indie game out of all of that, which is going to be contentious. Then we're going to have probably the hardest one to assign is the game that had the biggest lasting impact, which is going to be very difficult. It's going to require a lot of conversation. And then we'll do Game of the Year, which I think will actually be easier than assigning the game with the best lasting impact. Because there's a lot of games that came out in 2017 that have had significant lasting impact. I don't think it's negative at all. I think your perception of it is that it's negative, but I don't think it's a negative impact at all. Their microtransactions among free-to-play multiplayer games, Fortnite's microtransactions are non-existent. Absolutely non-existent. Fortnite's monetization is like, honestly, I would put it up there as probably the best example of how to do a free game monetization. Genuinely. It's not obtrusive. It's not mandatory. It doesn't require anything of you. You get decent stuff on free tracks. It's how you should do free game monetization. There is a lot of perception that it's otherwise, but it's really not. It is not predatory in any way. It's incredible. Lasting impact include impact on the gaming industry, like how No Man's Sky showed the industry that if a team is dedicated, yes, Souls, exactly that. That's what I mean by lasting impact. So it's not just a game that was so good that people tried to chase and replicate it. That can be it. Lasting impact could also be negative. It could be like we're gonna have some conversations, but lasting impact, Mass Effect Andromeda is gonna come up in the lasting impact category. It doesn't necessarily have to be good games, because bad games can have just as much impact. League of Legends is one of the best free-to-play monetization models. Yes. Also, I don't know if you've seen Boof, but if you have Game Pass, starting it's either January or February, you get it unlocks all the characters in League of Legends. By the way, same thing with Valorant. Okay, Heat 2, Fortnite and PUBG take the top two. To no one's surprise. And PUBG. Okay. Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out in 2017. Oh, did it? I think I just ignored it. What's this Game Pass thing you're talking about? I don't know. Never heard of it. All the characters should just be free. So now if you have Game Pass, they are. So there's that. Okay. Let's do the final poll for best multiplayer game. Looking back to 2017, it comes down to Mario Kart 8, Divinity 2, Fortnite, and PUBG. So that's running. The sound design in Battlefront was pretty good, yeah. The final countdown. Battlefront 2 should absolutely be in the lasting impact category. I will add it to the list. I pulled all the game releases from 2017 from Wikipedia, and I just it's a list of like 1,000 games or more, so I just pulled out the ones that caught my eye, so I definitely missed some. All right, Battlefront 2 is added to the list. You have Legendary and you haven't played it yet? But BioWare, so I will. Is it worth picking up Andromeda? Yes. Flamingo, you should play it. So the Battle Royale mode came out halfway through the year, Boofs. Because they copied PUBG, yes. But it was June, I believe, of 2017 where they launched the Battle Royale mode. I just got a 5-year anniversary present in Fortnite too. Yeah, Flamingo, play it on easy, enjoy the story and like some additional world building, because the new Mass Effect game is going to build off of stuff that they talked about in Andromeda. So like the combat in Andromeda is the best in the series. Jenna, how's it going? Good to see you. Always play on easy. You're terrible at combat. The combat is good. The other stuff is not. So this is a very, very, very funny representation of my community, the fact that Mario Kart 8 is running away with this poll. You're all wrong, but it's running away with the poll, which is funny. Lala, how's it going? It's best multiplayer game of 2017 to win the beautiful trophy. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. Yeah, they did the same thing that they did with Hinterlands in Dragon Age. Best multiplayer game has about 30 seconds left. My weight is getting thrown behind PUBG. It's getting less now, yeah. Well, because Cyber, the thing with polls is as you talk about it, you influence the poll. So yeah, Flamingo, like the thing with the Hinterlands is like you're not supposed to stay there for the first 50 hours. You're supposed to do a couple things and then leave and then come back. There's a planet like that in Andromeda too. Daunt, hi. And Jenna, thank you so much for 21 months. Time is flying by. Okay, poll is done. You all voted for Mario Kart 8. You're all wrong. It did ruin it for me. The first time, Mikey, the Hinterlands ruined Inquisition for me the first time I played it. I think it's a clear win for Divinity. So this is another example similar to art design where I will take your votes into consideration and then tell you why you're wrong. You're wrong because the best multiplayer game of the year was PUBG. Nami, how's it going? The best multiplayer game of that year, looking back at all those different multiplayer games that came out that year, PUBG was the best multiplayer game of that year. It's going to come up again in Lasting Impact, but yeah. Can't back Mario Kart in this instance. Mario Kart is a fantastic game. It won our best family game of the year, but it's not the best multiplayer game that came out. Yeah. You know it's bad when Bufu has to begrudgingly agree with me. PUBG was a phenomenon. Like, there are so many big-time streamers on Twitch right now that would not exist if it was not for PUBG and then subsequently Fortnite. But we'll come back. We'll talk more about that. Lasting Impact is going to be a conversation. That's going to be that's going to be a lot of talking. But next up, another one that's going to take the rest of these categories, by the way, are going to be brutal. If you're curious, the rest of these categories are going to be very difficult. This is Best Indie Game of the Year, 2017. PUBG spawned an era. Fortnite conquered the era, but PUBG spawned the era. Yeah. Without that Arma 2 BR mod, which is PUBG. Okay. Y'all, best indie game. I don't know if we're going to do votes for this one or if we'll talk about it for a little while and then pick, say, 3 games and have a vote and go from there. But there's a lot of really great indie games on this list. So my qualification for an indie game is you can't come from a big AAA studio. So for instance, one of my favorite games of all time is Child of Light, which seems like a little indie game, but it's developed by Ubisoft as part of their like indie push. So Child of Light would be like disqualified in this instance. For honor, yeah. So Hollow Knight, absolutely. Slime Rancher. Hellblade is an indie game. And Cuphead are the big ones for me. To me, it comes between... To me, it's really between Slime Rancher, Hollow Knight, and Cuphead. for me, because those three were incredible. What Remains of Edith Finch also deserves a mention here. Cuphead got its own TV show. Yes. Hated Hollow Knight and Cuphead. They're challenging games. Tigers fan. And Hellblade is who published Hellblade? They were indie, right? Oh no, it's Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory is Hellblade. So that's borderline. I'd say that's borderline. I would say I'm leaning towards no on that one. Smaller dev, but Ninja Theory is not tiny by any chance. It was also an Xbox funded game, so. Bauer, how's it going? Yeah, Hellblade is fantastic. Hellblade won our best sound design. Probably a version of Skyrim that released in 2017. Yeah. Huffu, how's it going? We're doing the Time Will Always Tell Awards, our Hindsight Awards, the best games of 2017. We're looking back 5 years ago to determine what the best games in a bunch of different categories were. It's much more fair, I think, judging in 5 years hindsight than it is when you're still emotionally attached or thinking about the last game that you played. So by looking back 5 years, we have a much more objective opinion on the quality of those games because we've had a lot of time to stew on it. We've had a lot of time to actually play more of the games on this ridiculously incredible list of games that came out this year. So, yeah. Would PUBG be considered an indie since it was like one dude? So, no, yes and no. So the mod, the Arma mod for PUBG was one dude, was PlayerUnknown, right? However, PUBG released from a dev studio with significant backing from a very large game company in 2017. So I think we're going to exclude PUBG from this conversation. This is the first annual Time Will Always Tell Awards. Yes. First of many. I'm hoping once we get a house and stuff that I can actually get this trophy made and have a physical copy of it because, yeah. Avoiding doing the list this year, waiting 5 years for it to be discounted. Exactly. It's the Discount Game Awards. I would love to have Mr. Handsome's head on a tennis bowling trophy. So, is the trophy true to scale? Oh yeah. Look, it's about the right size, right? Venom, how's it going? Good to see you. Okay. So, I think we can kind of agree that it really comes down to Hollow Knight, Cuphead, and Slime Rancher, right? Cuphead was an incredible undertaking. Slime Rancher is a labor of love, incredible game that is like one of the easiest recommends for any type of gamer ever. And then Hollow Knight is, if you want someone to play a 2D Metroidvania Souls-like, Hollow Knight is always the first recommendation. Hi, Frank. Cuphead visuals definitely deserve recognition. Cuphead won best art direction already. So if you're just coming in, our first award was Best Voice Acting, went to Ashley Birch for Horizon Zero Dawn. Best Narrative also went to Horizon Zero Dawn. Best Art went to Cuphead. Best Family Game was Mario Kart 8. Open World Game was Breath of the Wild. Best Sound Design was Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Best Multiplayer Game was PUBG. Now we are doing best indie game. So honestly, like, it's Cuphead, Slime Rancher, or Hollow Knight. Those are the three. Divinity. So Divinity could be considered an indie game. Larian was not that big. Divinity Original Sin 2 is what made Larian a bigger studio. So they might qualify for this. Do we have an award for like amazing game that would never win in any category? That's going to be at the end, Zelda. We're going to do my personal awards. So I have like my favorite game of the year that no one talks about. And then my overall favorite game of the year. That'll be after we do all of them. I'll give my two little ones. So like the unsung award and personal favorite. The unsung award might go to Battle Chasers Night War. Just saying. You may finally buy Divinity. Mikey, listen, if you do that, I know a guy that wants to play it with you. Best game below 10 FPS. Cities Skylines. Jonah, how's it going? Okay, so I think we can all agree that indie game has to come down to Hollow Knight, Slime Rancher, and Cuphead, right? Yeah, Mikey. I mean, yeah. Favorite game that I played in 2017 but wasn't released in 2017. Yeah. Take care, souls. If you're in Discord, we'll post the winners of all the categories and everything in Discord as well. I'll probably also do a recap on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So, all right, let's get this poll going. I'm gonna make this a 5-minute poll, because we really need to get some votes in for this one. So, best indie game. We've got Slime Rancher. We've got Hollow Knight. We've got my caps lock keys on. And we've got Cuphead. Here we go. These games came out way back in 2017. Times flies. Yeah. The list of games that came out in 2017 is astounding. Absolutely astounding. Genuinely. Okay. So, again, here's the list of games that came out in 2017. If you haven't seen it. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Yakuza 0, Neo, For Honor, Sniper Elite 4, Night in the Woods, Hollow Knight, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata, Mass Effect Andromeda, What Remains of Edith Finch, Little Nightmares, Prey, Mario Kart 8, Slime Rancher, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Mario vs. Rabbids, Divinity Original Sin 2, Battle Chasers Night War, Middle-earth Shadow of War, South Park Fractured But Whole, Destiny 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Super Mario Odyssey, Hello Neighbor, Cuphead, PUBG, Fortnite, Splatoon 2, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's just the ones that have been pulled out. There's hundreds of games that came out that year, but these are just the highlights. Middle-earth Shadow of War not winning anything. It was nominated for Best Open World Game. But, I mean, you know. You were today years old when you got that. The Worst Game Award. Listen, I mentioned before, we're gonna do the Lasting Impact Award, and there is definitely consideration for bad games having lasting impact, because a bad game can completely change the way that a developer works. Look at No Man's Sky is a perfect example. When that released, that was a bad game, and it redefined Hello Games. And it redefined what you can do when you have a bad game release. And you finally grabbed Octopath Traveler. I haven't played that yet either, Mikey, and I did also grab it. Been on my wish list forever. You were sheltered as a child. How can you grow up in this area, in the Northeast, and not immediately get that joke, Jonah. Most interesting game mechanic? That's a consideration. There's not a lot of times where there'll be multiple games in a year that introduce a new mechanic. Oh, you didn't grow up in the Northeast. Well, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. You have an underlying politeness that gives that away. Found your way here accidentally. To be fair, either you're born here or you find your way here accidentally. No one comes here on purpose. It's like no one moves to Philadelphia with intent, you know? You just end up there. It's not a destination you're looking for. Or get abducted. Yeah. All right, there's about 60 seconds left on the vote. We have Hollow Knight is carrying the category right now with 15 votes. Slime Rancher in second, and Cuphead is third. You also saw that TikTok. There's more than one. You were born on stream, and you'll stay here your entire life. I'm glad to hear that, Mort. So it looks like Hollow Knight is gonna pull the category, and I can't say that I disagree with it. I can't say that any of them that would have won the vote that I would disagree with. Slime Rancher is honestly as good a game as it is, and as easy a recommend as it is to anybody, like any level of gamer. I think it's a distant third in this. Cuphead is a special game in a lot of ways. Hollow Knight as a game Hollow Knight reinvigorated the Metroidvania genre. Slime Rancher is a trap to murder people with ADD. Yes, we are, Venom. Every year at my last stream of the year, we'll do the Game Awards for 5 years ago. So, I mean, I died in Hollow Knight a lot, so it's a mechanic, though. Just like the Souls games, death is a mechanic for progress. So, okay. Hollow Knight runs away with it, 18 votes over Slime Rancher in second with 9, and Cuphead a distant third with 7. I would agree with that the best indie game of the year is Hollow Knight. That is, yeah, you know me in platformers, Mikey. Like I don't do platformers, but Hollow Knight was smooth and clean and just beautifully executed. I'm excited for Silk Song, which I believe is coming out this year, 2023. Yeah. No, I don't think I've seen that one, Bishop. If you want death moves the story along, the game Reventure is amazing. I haven't heard of that one. Okay, so indie game. How did the font change? What's going on with my dock here? Here we go. Indie game is Hollow Knight. It's a good choice. I can't find any reason to disagree with that. Hollow Knight spawned Shovel Knight, I believe. They're pretty close. Shovel Knight might have been 2018. Or Shovel Knight might have been first. Not sure. Caps off with Hollow Knight. Yeah, like I said, Hollow Knight kind of reinvigorated the Metroidvania genre. Yeah, I think Shovel Knight was for. Hang on. Now I need to know because I was actually reading something about Shovel Knight. 2014 was Shovel Knight. Wow. There you go. Spelunky, then Shovel Knight, then Hollow Knight. Yes. Spelunky was 2008. Yeah. Spelunky was 2008. Poster boy of indie games. Yes. Fantastic art, great music, great sound design, great map design, great boss design, and just really clean, smooth, fun gameplay, good progression, good like puzzles, and good just across the board. It's a really, really good game. It really kind of reinvigorated, like I said, it reinvigorated Metroidvanias, and I think it really reinvigorated taking a Souls-like approach into other genres. You bought a Hollow Knight disc plate? Oh, nice. All my disc plates are in storage. Just like the rest of my life is in storage. Okay. That's the last of the easy categories. So let's do one more slightly easier one. Let's do best ongoing support. The best game from 2017 with ongoing support. So this is a category that we could only do by looking at it from 5 years past. So what game is still relevant today and has the best ongoing support, whether it be through updates, DLC expansions, and things like that. So not just always No Man's Sky. Yeah. No Man's Sky didn't come out in 2017, so Displate Mort is an art company, and they basically put art posters onto thin steel sheets, so you can hang them up with magnets, and they're real easy to swap around and move around. A lot of the ones in my old office were displates. So games released in 2017 and that are still supported. Yes. So this is going to be another like probably heavily multiplayer leaning one, unless you have a game like No Man's Sky that is ostensively single player but has a lot of ongoing support and new content coming out. Basically real big poster size fridge magnets more. Yeah. So obviously big ones in this category are going to be Fortnite, PUBG, Destiny 2, Mario Kart 8. Breath of the Wild's not really getting any more content. For Honor is still going. You returned it the next day? Yeah, Mikey, I don't blame you. Okay, so let's do a poll for this one. This one should be one of the easier ones. It has to be Fortnite for this one. I don't know. I mean, definitely ongoing support. We've got Fortnite, PUBG, Destiny 2. An argument could definitely be made for Destiny 2. Mario Kart 8 and For Honor. Could add Battlefront 2 to that. No, I'm just kidding. All right, the poll is up. So best ongoing support over the last 5 years. What game do you think has the best ongoing support from all of those? We have Fortnite, PUBG, Destiny 2, Mario Kart 8, or For Honor. The argument against Destiny 2 is that they sunset old content. They do bring other content back out. Horizon Zero Dawn, they had one DLC come out, but they've already moved on to Horizon Zero Dawn 2. So I don't think that really counts, Mort. They're not doing any active current development on new things for Horizon Zero Dawn. The original game, 2, sure. And the upcoming MMO, sure. But not the original title that came out that year. Whereas PUBG, Fortnite, Destiny 2, For Honor are all having new content coming out for that specific title. Voted Fortnite only because Epic is local. Fortnite has incredible ongoing support. Like, they just updated, if you don't know, a month ago, the beginning of this last season of Fortnite, they updated Fortnite to brand new version of the engine. So completely overhauled all the visuals, rolled out all kinds of stuff. Like, the ongoing support for Fortnite is fantastic. It's ridiculous. Same thing with Destiny 2, though. They have new content coming out all the time, new DLCs. They do sunset stuff, but they do also bring stuff back every now and then to keep it a little fresh with different seasons. But yeah, ongoing support is definitely going to focus on games as service and live service games. 100%. There are games like No Man's Sky that have been out for a very long time and still receive active development and add-ons and DLCs. Wish you didn't need a Switch to play Mario Kart. I agree. They make more money on the Unreal Engine than they do on Fortnite. By a good margin. The graphics are nuts now. Yeah. Updating to Unreal Engine 5.1, it looks like a completely different game. It still looks like Fortnite, but it's stunning. It's really ridiculous. No, they make, because they get money for every game that's developed in Unreal. And if you look at the list of games that they get a percentage of for being built on Unreal, they make a lot of money on it. They make a lot of money on Fortnite, but compared to what they make on their engine, it's apples and oranges. It is now, yes. Couldn't have guessed Fortnite to become an Unreal 5 showcase. Yeah. It's the new Unreal Tournament. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It is their showcase. It is their showpiece. Okay. So the poll has ended. Fortnite runs away with that category over Destiny 2 by 10 votes. Not super surprising. And not wrong in any way. So Fortnite wins best ongoing support. That might be, I don't know how long they're going to keep go. It seems like they're going to keep going. It's been 5 years and they're still cranking out a lot of new content for Fortnite. That might be a repeat award that we see going forward with the future Time Will Always Tell awards. So who knows? We might see some repeat winners in that category. They still seem to be going strong. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So we're down to the last two big awards. Next year, Sea of Thieves. Yes. Next year is Sea of Thieves. So that's going to be a conversation for next year. Okay. So time for the last two big awards. And these are the ones that are going to have some contention and is going to take a lot of conversation. So get ready. The last two awards we have are Lasting Impact and the Game of the Year. So these are going to be difficult to award. So let's do Lasting Impact first. And as I said, this is kind of an undefined category. It can be for good or ill. So this is where games like Mass Effect Andromeda can come into play. This is where games like Battlefront 2 can come into play. This is where a lot of games come into play that wouldn't necessarily be considered. Because lasting impact can mean a lot of different things to different people. You can look at the lasting impact of Hollow Knight and say, wow, that really reinvigorated Metroidvanias and Souls-likes and really spawned an entire genre of clones. So Hollow Knight has some pretty significant lasting impact. You can say Mass Effect Andromeda has pretty significant lasting impact because that, a lot of people point to Anthem, but no, Mass Effect Andromeda is the game that broke BioWare. That's pretty significant lasting impact to shatter one of the greatest gaming studios in history. Anthem is the byproduct of what happened with Andromeda. You can look at games like even Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, where you have gameplay that's interspersed with just an emotional journey. There are a lot of games that have followed in Hellblade's footsteps since that point. You can look at Middle-earth Shadow of War, the Nemesis system, introducing a mechanic that a lot of different companies have tried to copy and gotten sued for it. But what happened to Anthem is the result of what Andromeda did to BioWare. Yeah. Lasting impact. You can look at PUBG. PUBG spawned the Battle Royale genre. Battle Royales existed in many forms prior to PUBG. PUBG is what made Battle Royales blow up. PUBG changed the face of Twitch. PUBG changed the face of popular gaming in media. It spawned Fortnite, which in itself is a cultural phenomenon, and Fortnite could be considered for lasting impact because it changed games as service. It set the standard for live service games. Fortnite was released as a battle royale in June of 2017. PUBG came out earlier, and then they released the battle royale version of Fortnite shortly after. I believe it was June. But it was definitely in 2017. PUBG walked so Fortnite could run. Yeah. So PUBG defined battle royales. It redefined, or I guess took the foundations that had been laid by other attempts at battle royales and made it a genre. You can look at Battlefront 2. You can look at a lot of different games on this list. You could look at lasting impact of Cuphead. That you can take a visual style, an artistic interpretation, and build a game around it. There are so many options on here. Look at Slime Rancher, the ADD trap that is Slime Rancher. Both from visual style to gameplay loop and everything, Slime Rancher has had a pretty big impact. There is a lot of games out there that try to mimic what Slime Rancher did. Destiny 2, speaking of live service games, Destiny 1 kind of laid the foundation. Destiny 2 has built off of what Destiny 1 started. And if you want to talk about a looter shooter, Destiny 2 is the gold standard for looter shooters. There's not a lot of other games that are in that same conversation with it. There's a lot of games that have come into the market to try and be the new Destiny 2, but Destiny 2 is the gold standard for looter shooters. Omni, you're not wrong. Borderlands is a great looter shooter. Destiny 2 is the gold standard for multiplayer live service looter shooters. Nerdin, how's it going? Hello Neighbor has spawned an entire genre of games. Games like Dead by Daylight. Never felt pride and accomplishment before Battlefront 2. Definitely has lasting impact. Yeah. There are a lot of games that on this list that have had lasting impact. Horizon Zero Dawn, like big open world narrative games. Look at Assassin's Creed Origins, like big historically accurate-ish recreations of real world places. Nier Automata. Long-term lasting impact, like storytelling, story variation. Nier Automata. Breath of the Wild changed open world games. It won our best open world game of the year because it redefined what you could do in an open world game just by adding a climbing and gliding mechanic. How many games have a climbing and gliding mechanic now? It's changed so much. Divinity Original Sin 2 while still kind of a niche game, brought turn-based tactical games more into a spotlight, and it changed Larian Studios from a small indie studio into a pretty titanic studio that's taking on one of the biggest IPs in the game in the new Baldur's Gate game. There's a lot of lasting impact that has come out of the games that came out this year. So this is going to be a very, very difficult one to award. That's correct, Bishop. Yeah, you're not wrong. It depends on how you feel about it, Hibby. It can either be the one with the most overall lasting impact, or it can be the one that you personally feel had the most lasting impact on you. Larian has taken the mantle from BioWare, yes. It's a toss-up for PUBG and Battlefield 2 for you, Cyber. For me, I would put Breath of the Wild in there. It's a tough one. This is a very difficult one to consider. Because lasting impact, you can't talk about games that have had lasting impact without mentioning Fortnite. You can't talk about games that have had lasting impact without talking about Breath of the Wild, without talking about Destiny 2. There's so many games on this list that have had a big impact on gaming and gaming going forward. PUBG had a big lasting impact on you. You never wanted to play a battle royale again after that. Yeah, Baldur's Gate is coming out in August, Nerdin. I believe it releases in August. So, yeah, that's gonna be fun. Well, look at Elden Ring, Dot. Elden Ring kind of expanded upon what Breath of the Wild did. If you look at some of the Tom Clancy games, has kind of imitated a little bit what Breath of the Wild has done. If you look at Horizon Forbidden West, they have taken lessons from what Breath of the Wild did and put it into those games. Breath of the Wild showed what was possible in an open world game. Senua or Nier on a personal level, but Destiny on a general level, you're not wrong. Call You and Hellblade 2 has a release date. Wait to play it on PC. Like, they added a glider and things like that, Dot. So, yeah. Breath of the Wild showed you can make an interesting open world game without relying on map marker spam. The Ubisoft effect. Yeah. Yeah. You could say that, like, Elden Ring's open world map wouldn't exist without Breath of the Wild laying the foundation for it. So, Zara, how's it going? It's like, this is a really, really difficult one to assign, because you can also make the argument for Hollow Knight. Like I said, reinvigorating the Metroidvania market, extracting the Souls-like elements from Souls games and putting them into different genres. Hollow Knight didn't start that, but Hollow Knight basically became the gold standard of that. XCOM 2 can die in a fire. Had some fun today, Zara? Did you? Halo 3 ODST. Listen, Thunder. I will die on the hill that ODST is the best Halo game. It's my favorite Halo game. Like, as much as I love playing as Master Chief, I like being just a regular guy and having to fight stuff that is, like, incredibly difficult. Breath of the Wild inspire Genshin? Oh, absolutely. I love ODST. My text alert on my phone is still Vigil from ODST. The computer, when it pings you, when something new comes up, that's still my text alert and has been since ODST came out. Most visible aspect would be Fortnite. Too many games trying to copy the monetization, seeing what would be successful. They copy it in terrible ways that are incredibly toxic. Yeah. Yeah, What Remains of Edith Finch came out in 2017. 2017 was a incredible year for games. Incredible. Rescuing Mox early on in the game, so only 3 people in the mission. Enemies decided to ignore your Overwatch and cover. Oh no. Switch to Monster Train and relax. Nice. So this is a really difficult one. This is a really difficult award to give. Both in looking at games from a positive perspective and also games from a negative perspective. It's a very difficult award to give. And I don't know which way to go. So I think Fortnite and PUBG definitely have to be in the conversation for lasting impact. Those two are like mandatory, right? Breath of the Wild also has to be. I think we're going to do a couple heats of votes to try and narrow it down and figure out how we're going to go. So let's do the first one. Lasting impact. Fortnite. PUBG. You know what? Let's do... I'm just going to run it between those two. We're going to do a bunch of votes, a bunch of different heats, and then put it together from there. Only one of those two can go forward because they essentially had, while Fortnite had a bigger impact on the monetization of the business, they essentially they both spawned from the same place and Fortnite essentially rode on the coattails and then established its own path of what PUBG did. So they both can be argued for having the same kind of impact because they both basically blazed the same trail. So it's one of those two will go forward into the final heat. If PUBG didn't exist, Fortnite would still be a zombie survival game and Paragon would still be getting developed. So, although Predecessor came out and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you don't know, Paragon is a 3D MOBA that was being developed by Epic that they abandoned when Fortnite took off. And I love Paragon. But a remake just came out in early access called Predecessor. That's pretty good. They've recaptured the feeling pretty well. So, never played but watched it. And Senua's Sacrifice was great just for the feel of the game and the technical aspects. Yeah. If you're just coming in, the awards that we've given out so far today is Best Voice Acting went to Ashley Birch for Horizon Zero Dawn. Narrative went to Horizon Zero Dawn. That was a pretty contentious one. Best Art went to Cuphead. Best Family Game went to Mario Kart 8. Best Open World Game, Breath of the Wild. Best Sound Design goes to Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Best Multiplayer Game went to PUBG. Best Indie Game went to Hollow Knight. Best Ongoing Long-Term Support went to Fortnite. Now we're doing Lasting Impact, which can be a positive or a negative thing. A great asset pack release, yes. They refunded every single penny that anybody spent on Paragon and then released all the assets to the game for free so people could remake it if they wanted to, which is great. No one who's played Mario Kart 8 with Zunderscore's wife would call it a family game. Have you met Wifeboat, Tom? She just started giggling when I said that, so I think that answers your question. Matt, how's it going? Yeah, I think Wifeboat's about to challenge Zunder's wife to some Mario Kart. All right, the vote's just about to time out. Fortnite has a slim lead over PUBG. Little surprising. Mrs. Zunder and Wifeboat Mario Kart stream when? Sounds like Zunder and I need to do a co-op sub goal here. You and Wifeboat should do a racing stream some night? No. She just said, I can't. She'll get frustrated with me absolutely whooping on her after about 3 races. Am I wrong? No. You said no first, so... Nighttime Wifeboat streams are always a blast. Finally get all the words that I hold back during the day. Yeah. Fortnite because it pushed more than one major change in the industry. Yeah. Okay. So the winner of the first heat is Fortnite. I can't argue with it. Honestly, there wasn't really a wrong answer there. Okay. So now Fortnite only exists because of PUBG. Accurate. But if we're talking lasting impact, yes, PUBG spawned it, but Fortnite not only took the Battle Royale genre like to the next level from that, it also established like battle passes. It's the gold standard for battle passes, seasonal events, and ongoing support, personally. So it has lasting impact. You could say that Fortnite is the lasting impact of PUBG. Right, Matt, which is why I said there wasn't a wrong answer to that poll. Okay. So now we have Destiny. Oh, no. Lasting impact. Destiny 2, the gold standard for looter shooter live service. There's no clear winner. I don't think this is going to be a clear winner no matter what. Lasting impact, Destiny 2 and Hollow Knight. We'll put this one between. Yeah. So, next round for lasting impact. Destiny 2 or Hollow Knight. That's also, again, I don't know that there's a wrong answer here. Looking forward to Dwarf Fortress winning lasting impact awards in 2027. I mean, it's been out for, how long has that game been in development? Like 21 years? Did you see, Kelly Pot? They just hired a third dev. They hired one of the main modders to help with programming. The first non-family member that's going to see the source code for Dwarf Fortress. That has to be an absolute mess. Can you imagine the kludged together code that exists in the core of the Dwarf Fortress code that's been a working project for 20 something years? I wonder how quickly he's going to go insane. I mean, apparently he's been modding Dwarf Fortress for like 15 years, so he's probably already mostly there. Really, really strictly organized. If you've seen any conversations with the two brothers, any interviews or anything, with the two brothers, I'm leaning towards probably not. It definitely works, and it's undeniably brilliant, but I don't think organization is the prime candidate for a feature of their code. Didn't every Destiny that came out after Destiny fail? Yes. Destiny 2 is the gold standard for live service looter shooters. And it's not even a conversation. So that's where the question of, does it actually have lasting impact if it hasn't really spawned any competitors because no one can compete with it? So does it actually have lasting impact? It's going to make something like League of Legends spaghetti code look like a sheet of lasagna. Right? So does Destiny 2 actually have lasting impact if it just doesn't have any competitors? If it's so far ahead of the curve that it doesn't really have any competitors? It definitely, it was a strong contender for ongoing support. I'm kind of talking myself into Hollow Knight over Destiny 2 as I'm saying more. It spawned a ton of attempts, but they've all failed. Yeah. It still counts. It's definitely spawned a lot of attempts. It definitely has. It doesn't need to spawn other games. No, you're absolutely right. How games use the season phase, Borderlands started doing it. Hollow Knight's follow-ups haven't failed. Hollow Knight, you could argue that Hollow Knight essentially spawned most of the genre, like, definitely reinvigorated and spawned an entire... I mean, it's been 5 years and we're still seeing games that are at their core Hollow Knight clones come out that are successful. A lot of games have seasons, but specifically looter shooters, yeah. Okay, so Hollow Knight wins that heat pretty comfortably over Destiny 2, actually. So, lasting impact, the first two heats, we have Fortnite and Hollow Knight. Were there any other games that we wanted to put up for a vote for lasting impact from the list that we have? I don't know that any really compete with those ones that we've already run. It would be like an also ran kind of thing. Hello Neighbor definitely could have a shout. You know what? Let's do one more, and we'll have... This is going to be the lasting impact from a negative perspective. And then the winner of that will go forward against the other two. So, Battlefront 2, Mass Effect Andromeda, maybe you could put Breath of the Wild for popularizing the Switch. Not wrong. I think the Switch would have sold well on its own. And really, if you look at the numbers boosts, the Switch sold well, but it didn't sell to the standard of Nintendo until Animal Crossing came out. Yeah, like Dot said. If you look at their sales ramp, it's like decent sales, Animal Crossing release. And they had to get a second piece of paper to put above it. The Switch is on pace to beat the PlayStation 2 for best-selling console of all time. We'll find out by the end of next year. Windows 11 has been having this bug where you can't move Windows or click the taskbar. Every time I boot my PC now, Matt, it asks me to upgrade to Windows 11, and I keep putting it off, and it keeps asking me, and I hate it so much. Okay, so let's run this one. So lasting impact, these are games that would have lasting impact, but in more of a negative light. So Star Wars Battlefront 2, Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda's lasting impact is it basically set the stage for BioWare's collapse. Mass Effect Andromeda is the reason that Anthem failed. It's the reason that BioWare is where it is now, where basically the entire staff of BioWare from the top all the way down to the bottom is entirely new people. And then Battlefront 2 just for being the standard of how not to release a multiplayer game. How not to do microtransactions and battle passes and anything associated with games. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Linux? Without Battlefront 2, we'd still be infested with loot boxes. Battlefront 2 is the reason that loot boxes got outlawed. EA. Who made Battlefront 2? EA. Who made Mass Effect Andromeda? EA. So, okay, so we'll call if you're nominated for lasting impact on the negative light, you're going to be the EA nomination. It's in the game. Miss Heroes of the Storm and loot boxes? Honestly, I miss loot boxes in Rocket League. It was a DICE game, yes. It's a DICE game, but both DICE and BioWare are owned by EA. And if you have ever looked into how much EA fiddles with games and their developers, it's significant. Only the hotspots. The winner in this case is the loser, and it's always Electronic Arts. Maybe I should make that its own category next year. The Electronic Arts Award. Congratulations on defining a generation in a negative light. Very hands-on. Yes. Sometimes for good, oftentimes for ill. Did you know, fun fact, what's the best part of Anthem? The best part of Anthem is the first time you get into the open world areas and you Iron Man yourself up into the sky and fly around. The flying, the Iron Manning around, was forced on them by, what's his name, the old CEO of EA. They only had short hops. You were only going to be able to like hover and do basically long jumps and never actually fly around. And he demanded that they make it open world flying. But I think they spent so much time getting that right that they didn't have time to develop any other part of the game. Like the jetpack in Andromeda. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what they were. If you look at Andromeda and then you play Anthem, which I still recommend, you can get Anthem for like, I think $1.70 right now. I'm not even joking, like less than $2. You can pick up Anthem. You will play Anthem for 3 or 4 hours and have an absolute blast. And you will also experience everything that Anthem has to offer in those 3 to 4 hours. But it's a good time for those 3 to 4 hours. And I still recommend everybody play it. But if you play Andromeda and you play the combat in Andromeda and you go, this is pretty good, that's the combat in Anthem. It was just a cliffhanger, Cyber. They abandoned everything. So less than $2 is still way too... I disagree. You're going to get 3 or 4 hours of entertainment for $2. I think that's definitely worth it. Okay, so Andromeda gets the EA nomination. Yes, I agree that EA has made some better decisions lately, but 1 or 2 good decisions does not reverse all ills. Yeah, there were a lot of good moments in Anthem. You could tell that there was probably going to be a good game somewhere in there, but after 3 or 4 hours, you're basically done with the game. You're never going to experience anything new. All right. So let's do the final vote for lasting impact is going to be between Fortnite, Hollow Knight, and Mass Effect Andromeda with the EA nomination. Lasting impact 2017. Mass Effect Andromeda. Fortnite. And Hollow Knight. Here we go. They have an entire generation before they're on the good side with you? Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens. So they no longer can make FIFA games, so we'll see what happens with that. So what game from 2017 has had the most lasting impact on the industry, on you, on everything? Between Hollow Knight, Fortnite, and Mass Effect Andromeda. FIFA, they didn't lose. You should look up articles. FIFA demanded $4 billion for the rights to continue making their video games, and EA said, no. So then FIFA was like, fine, we'll make our own game. So apparently they're trying to make their own game. Meanwhile, EA went around to all the leagues independently and got rights to their teams independently of FIFA. So I think they're still going to make soccer/football games, just under a different name and not with the FIFA brand, which honestly, both of them can die in a fire. You should play Fortnite and Hollow Knight. Download Fortnite, Nerden. You can play it on the Switch. My daughter plays it on the Switch. It's a good time. And you can play with your kid. You could play on your PC with your kid on the Switch, and the parental controls, you can turn off every like interaction with other people possible. Yeah, you could do no build mode. No build mode saved Fortnite. It kept it going. Any party that is getting hurt in that, yes, Lemon Ducky, 100%. Both parties are getting hurt, and I could not support that more. Honestly, if you play build mode, since no build mode came out in Fortnite, and you go and you play in build mode, no one builds anymore. No build's way more fun. You actually almost won, right? My kids and I win fairly regularly, at least once every time we sit down to play. All right. Fortnite is running away with this vote. I can't say I disagree. Can't say I disagree. Mass Effect Andromeda, the EA place in the voting, is in last place. Hollow Knight, I'm surprised Hollow Knight hasn't gotten a couple more votes. Because Hollow Knight has had pretty significant impact on game development since it came out. From art style, music, and just the gameplay loop, has had a lot of impact, but you really can't argue with Fortnite having the most lasting impact from this year. And Fortnite wins lasting impact after winning best ongoing support. All right, now the big mamma jamma, the final category before I give some of my personal picks. Fortnite is like the game since it came out. Yeah. Game of the year. Overall, game of the year. So we have the best game. It's difficult for this not to be a personal choice. The best game that was released in 2017. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Yakuza 0, Nioh. We haven't talked about Nioh. Nioh is a really interesting game. For Honor, Sniper Elite 4, also a really interesting game series. Night in the Woods, really good game. Hollow Knight, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata, we've talked about that a lot, really good game. Mass Effect Andromeda, What Remains of Edith Finch, fantastic game. Little Nightmares, really cool game. Prey is pretty incredible. Mario Kart 8, Slime Rancher, a personal favorite. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice was fantastic. Mario vs. Rabbids is incredible. Divinity Original Sin 2 has a place in my heart. Battle Chasers Night War has a place in my heart. Middle Earth, Shadow of War, South Park, Fractured But Whole, Destiny 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, Super Mario Odyssey, Hello Neighbor, Cuphead, PUBG, Fortnite, Splatoon 2, Battlefront 2. Next year should have a best game to spawn memes category. There's so many categories. You've been working on something, see? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, C. Many polls. I don't know that we're going to do... We might do a final poll. But let's talk about it for a little bit. What are your personal favorites? Nioh 2 is a huge step up. I think we'll talk more about Nioh when we get to... What year was Nioh 2? Nioh 2 is like last year or the year before, right? So we have a couple years before we get to Nioh 2. Nioh 2 will get a lot more conversation at that point. Personal preference of what you've played on the list, Divinity Original Sin 2 would be your choice. It's not a bad choice. Little Nightmares is fun. Still salty about Nioh because you got stuck at a boss and your friend picked up the game for the first time ever and immediately did it on the first try. There's a good few on this list that I haven't played. I haven't played some on this list. I haven't played Yakuza 0. I haven't played Nioh 1. I haven't played Little Nightmares. I actually haven't played the South Park game. I think I own it. I haven't played Origins. I've seen a lot of it played though. I watched Sal play a lot of Origins. And that's it. I think I've played everything else. Mario Kart for you, and you haven't even played it yet? Rental, your pick has to be Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the best gaming experience you've ever had. That's awesome. Nier's a close second. I still have to play Nier. I might play Nier this year. Because I haven't played it yet. And I know it's like it's a whole thing. But my picks from this, I don't know. This is tough. I mean, Divinity Original Sin 2 is spectacular. Breath of the Wild is incredible. Horizon Zero Dawn was a lot of fun. Hollow Knight is incredible. Slime Rancher is just like turn your brain off and play it. Hecky, you vote for Prey? You would. I haven't played Prey yet, though. I can't speak to play. Nier Automata is amazing. You still need to play so you can replay it again. Did you get all the endings, Matt? Prey was fun. I think I own Prey. I think Breath of the Wild has to win best game. I think only real complaint about the game is that you wish the weapons did not break. That's fair. Other than that, I think it's a masterclass in open world RPGs. I can't disagree with you, Boofs. Divinity is the closest thing to D&D and you love RPGs like that too much. That's totally fair. Why don't you remember anything about 2017? I guess only played Witcher 3 and Hellblade. Yeah. Prey is so underrated and forgotten. Hellblade for you, Chemo. Absolute standout game. So to recap, the Game Awards in 2017, as well as the DICE Awards and the Game Developers' Choice Awards, all gave Game of the Year to Breath of the Wild. The British Academy gave Game of the Year to What Remains of Edith Finch, but they like artsy games, so that is not terribly surprising. Yeah, that's the year that Switch came out. Yeah. You old yet? You're welcome. Nier had rare emotional impact for you. Breath of the Wild, the thing you most liked about Elden Ring was how the open world exploration reminded you of Breath of the Wild. It's fair. Very fair. You got 23 of 26 endings in Nier. There's 26 different endings in Nier? Good lord. Also, Hecky, it's great to see you. I hope you're doing well. Switch and Breath of the Wild was interchangeable for a long time. Yeah, that's fair. Most of them are joke endings, though. Okay. Of those, it would be Divinity Original Sin 2. It's the first time you loved a turn-based combat game. Story and characters are well written. Added bonus for an RPG where your choices have actual impact. Yeah. Oh, one for each letter of the alphabet. That's right. Okay. Yeah. That's right. I remember somebody talking about that. This is difficult. I'm going to discount the live service games. So PUBG, Fortnite, Destiny, I'm going to put those aside. Because those were not my favorite games of those years. They've been returning favorites over the years, but they weren't the best games to come out that year. You too, Hecky. Yikes. Yeah, those games came out in 2017, but they weren't in their like best form in 2017. That's where like ongoing support and lasting impact came in. Never say it's the best game of the year. Yeah. I mean, Cuphead too. Like Cuphead is really good. Let's do a poll. we do have after the game of the year with you all, I'll be doing my favorite unsung hero game of the year, and then also my personal favorite game from the year. So the game of the year is not going to be like my personal game of the year. I'll talk about that afterwards. So game of the year, definitely Breath of the Wild, Divinity, Original Sin 2. We definitely need to have Hollow Knight in there. We can nominate 2 more. I want to make this a single heat, single vote. So Breath of the Wild, Divinity Original Sin 2, Hollow Knight. From this list, we can nominate 2 more. Hellblade, probably a good nomination, and Cuphead. Or Nier. I think I have to do Nier over Hellblade. Nier has wider appeal than Hellblade. Hellblade is fantastic but niche. So we'll do Cuphead and Nier. Okay, this is going to be a 5-minute vote, so you have a little time to think about it. So it's going to be Game of the Year vote, Breath of the Wild, Divinity Original Sin 2, Hollow Knight, Cuphead, Nier Automata. Vote is up. Cast your votes. Let's see how it goes. This will be interesting. Give me 30 seconds while this is running. I'm just going to get a skosh more coffee. Okay. Game of the Year 2017. The Time Will Always Tell award. It's going to be... I forgot Bloodborne didn't come out in 2017, Michael. You can't just nominate Bloodborne every year. I did. The poll is up. The poll is up. The poll is between Breath of the Wild, Divinity Original Sin 2, Hollow Knight, Cuphead, Nier Automata. Throw your votes in chat too if you can't vote. Let your voice be heard. Bloodborne is timeless. Witcher 3 wins every year. I would really like to play the remaster booths. I would really like to play the update. But it's completely broken. Even if I turn everything off, I get like 15 FPS. I tried. The update broke everything. Zoozer. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. I really appreciate that. I have a new PC booths, and it runs like hot trash. It's terrible. I have a 13th gen Intel chip and a 3080 Ti, and it runs like trash. Ready to spend another 250 hours playing Witcher 3? It was 300 hours? It was 297 hours. My first on-stream playthrough of Witcher 3. Thank you very much. It is a flex. Peanut Gallery. Your main account doesn't want to play... Oh, Venom. Well, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate it. It's been a few years. Have you tried having a better memory, Nerden? Runs great on the PS5. Runs great on the PS5. Mm-hmm. I still want to grab a DualSense controller for my PC to try it out, because they're adding the DualSense support to a lot of Steam games now. And with Returnal coming out on PC. The Witcher 3 update, Jonah. The next gen Witcher 3 update runs like hot trash. Yeah, but then I'd have to buy the game again, Mikey. And I've already bought it twice. I don't want to buy it again. Probably runs great. It probably does run great on the Xbox. All right. There's about 60 seconds left on the vote. Yeah, Returnal's coming to PC. Yes. Returnal's coming to PC. That was announced at the Game Awards. Super exciting. I'm very, 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 very excited. Yeah, Cyber, it didn't matter. If I turn off the Ultra Plus down to Ultra or down to Medium, I still get like 15 FPS. And all the textures look like garbage. All the textures look like garbage, and I was getting like 15 to 20 FPS. Yeah, that was the update that had... They admitted there's a problem. They put out a small patch, but it didn't fix my problem. All right, couple seconds left. Breath of the Wild is currently leading with Nier and Hollow Knight tied in second. So get your votes in if you haven't. This is for the Game of the Year to win the very coveted trophy for Game of the Year. Yes. I'm going to have this made in real life by a trophy store. Are you happy? I'll put it on display in the dining room. Yes. Yeah. In a glass case. Wifeboat's excited about the upcoming trophy. Definitely need a proper trophy. Yeah. Imagine having a dining room. I know. One day. Cuphead getting 0 votes makes my soul happy. Okay. So in last place with 0 votes, Cuphead. The trophy head should be your face. The trophy head is Mr. Handsome, though. He's much more attractive than I am. Wifeboat just said it's the same person, so there you go. Actually, you know what? When I get older, I actually... no, I mean, there's some similarities to... Yeah, anyway. In last place, Cuphead with 0. In third place, Divinity with 4. Second place was Hollow Knight. And first place, Game of the Year, winner of the Distinguished Trophy, is Breath of the Wild. Deserved. Can't argue with it. Okay. So, that's all of the main ones. There's 2 more that I'm going to mention that are just my personal awards. Can I make the trophy like twice as big? I really could, if you'd like. Wifeboat wants to know who said that. These are big awards, okay. Chemical, thank you so much for 13 months. I really appreciate it. Welcome back. I hope you're doing well. What year is it? Right? Here you go. Game of the Year. Congratulations, Breath of the Wild. Here's your trophy. Don't spend it all in one place. So, recap. Best voice acting went to Ashley Birch for Horizon Zero Dawn. Best narrative went to Horizon Zero Dawn. Best art went to Cuphead. Best family game, Mario Kart 8. Best open world game, Breath of the Wild. Best sound design, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Best multiplayer game went to PUBG. Best indie game went to Hollow Knight. Best ongoing support and lasting impact both went to Fortnite. And Game of the Year went to Breath of the Wild. So congratulations on your Time Will Always Tell trophy. So then the 2 that I want to talk about is personal favorite of the games, my personal favorite game that came out this year, and then also the game that doesn't get enough credit from this year. My personal favorite game from this year is going to be Divinity Original Sin 2. I don't think anybody's surprised about that, right? I don't think that comes as a shock to anyone that my personal favorite game of the year is going to be Divinity Original Sin 2. It's a fantastic game. And really, I think despite how much support it gets around the world, I still think it's an underrated game. But Divinity Original Sin 2 is my favorite personal game, my personal favorite emotional pick, favorite game from 2017 was Divinity Original Sin 2. And then the last one is the unsung hero of 2017. I know Hecky mentioned that Prey was a really underrated game from this year. So does anybody else have a personal favorite underrated game from this list that we didn't really touch on that much? Hecky talked about Prey, which I've heard a lot of good things about. I think I own it on several platforms. I haven't played it yet. Resident Evil 7. So my personal pick for underrated game of the year, and if you've been watching the whole time, this won't come as a surprise, is Battle Chasers Night War, which, if you haven't played it, is a fantastic game. Battle Chasers Night War is awesome. It's really fun. If you like RPGs, I highly recommend Battle Chasers Night War. It does not get enough credit for being as good as it was. That's my personal underrated one. Watching people go back and play Little Nightmares for the first time was always a great... Yeah, I haven't played Little Nightmares. I've heard a lot of good things about Little Nightmares. I've heard a lot of good things about Little Nightmares 2 as well. For Honor is a really interesting concept that was poorly executed. You know what, Boofs, For Honor is still really popular. The only problem is, and we touched on this briefly, For Honor, Mordhau, Chivalry, all those games attract a certain type of person, and it eventually ruins those games. And For Honor might be the worst among those, although Mordhau could be in the conversation too. But the toxicity and that ruins the community, ruins the game. They're really good at it. Yeah, that too. I mean, yeah. Even though Warframe came out years before, in 2017, it reached mainstream heights. That's a good shout. Little Nightmares 1 was better than 2, but they're both great. Little Nightmares was fantastic. I'll have to put that on my list to play. I think I own Little Nightmares 1. I'm pretty sure. Might do... It's a scary game, so I don't do that. But Mass Effect Andromeda is yours, Nerdin? And Matt's? Got too much flack for what you think it was deserved. The patches, I understand, fixed a lot of stuff. So, it's on Game Pass, is it? It's not so much scary as it is creepy. Okay. It's a very good Mario game. Oh, there you go. Mario Odyssey? Yes. Mario Odyssey's group. Wifeboat agrees with you, Tom. I think Mario Odyssey is underrated for Mario games in general. Odyssey is fantastic. My kids play it a lot because of the co-op factor, because one player can play as the Hat. I think that's really fun. The map designs and the boss fights and stuff in Odyssey are really interesting. Andromeda on release, and again after they stopped releasing patches, was such a big difference. I'll have to I played it a little bit when it first came out, and I never went back to it. I've been meaning to go back to Andromeda. So, the Odyssey music is also really good. So we have nominations for underrated game, For Honor, Mass Effect Andromeda, Prey, and my personal Battle Chasers Night War. Any others that people should check out from this list that folks might not have played? I always recommend everybody play What Remains of Edith Finch. It's like 3.5 to 4 hours long. It's essentially a walking simulator. You're playing through a story. It's a weird little story, but it's super engaging and interesting. It's interesting. You can watch, I think my playthrough of it is on YouTube. If not, it's definitely on my VODs. It should be on YouTube, I think. Battle chasers are what you play after having a battle to take care of the burn. Yeah. Little Nightmares will make you feel tense, like anticipation. Okay. Yeah. Little Nightmares is not on Game Pass. Okay. Yeah. But not scary. What can we talk about? Like, I don't even know. I came up with the idea initially, like, oh, let me just do Game of the Years for 5 years ago, because that would be kind of funny. And I thought up the name of the awards, and I thought, the acronym's kind of funny, so let me do it. And then I looked at the list, and that's a ridiculous, like, 2017 is a stacked year for games. That's not even all of them. Those are just the ones that I cherry picked out of the list of hundreds. I'm sure there are more that I missed, but what an incredible year of game releases 2017 was. I don't like that's it. It's a ridiculous year. I mean, it's the year the Switch came out, so that has a big heavy impact on the games that came out. But like, even outside of Switch games, incredible thing. So this was a lot of fun. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take, but that was a lot of fun. This is something that I want to do every year. So on my last stream of the calendar year, we'll do this every year, and we'll look back 5 years ago and go over the games that came out 5 years ago, and do the same thing, give out some awards and have some fun. So to recap, awards from top to bottom: Best voice acting went to Ashley Birch for Horizon Zero Dawn. Best narrative went to Horizon Zero Dawn. The best art and art direction went to Cuphead. The best family game went to Mario Kart 8. The best open world game went to Breath of the Wild. Best sound design goes to Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Best multiplayer game of the year went to PUBG. The best indie game of the year went to Hollow Knight. The game with the best ongoing support from 5 years ago is Fortnite. The game with the most lasting impact, positive or negative, on the gaming space in the last 5 years was Fortnite. Overall game of the year was Breath of the Wild. My personal favorite of the year was Divinity Original Sin 2, and my unsung hero game of the year was Battle Chasers Night War. Really strong year. Next, 2018 is also a strong year. Monster Hunter World, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, Red Dead Redemption 2, and God of War, right? So, best voice acting is just the Ashley Birch Award. I mean, it wasn't like a foregone conclusion, because Melina Juergens, who played Senua in Senua's Sacrifice, I think did a fantastic job too. So, made you feel old? 2017 feels like yesterday. Yeah, that's basically what Wifeboat's been saying in the background, is that this is all making her feel old. Yeah, so that was fun. Thank you all so much for watching. I think it's about 3 hours. I was going to do a little Valheim, but my voice is dying from talking so much. So I think we'll wrap it up and just make the whole stream be the awards. So my next stream will be next year. So next stream is going to be Monday. I'm off for the weekend. I'll be back on Monday. Keep in mind, Monday starts my brand new schedule, which is going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So that's normal. I'm going to be off on Thursdays, and then Friday is going to be night streams. So 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm hoping to do some multiplayer games, some co-streams, some co-op stuff, have some fun at night. We'll also be running sub goals or bits goals during the week to have a Friday morning stream. So then Friday becomes a 2-stream day. So that's what we got coming up starting next week. Additionally, if you are subbed on Ko-Fi to Reading Time, I'm going to be catching up Ko-Fi to the Patreon Reading Times. So a couple of those will be going up each week. over on Ko-Fi, and then towards the end of the month, the brand new reading times will be going up on both platforms. So that's what we got. I hope you all had fun with this. I had a lot of fun doing it. I think it's going to be a fun tradition to close out the year. I do want to say thank you to everybody for this year. Mort, thank you so much for the biddies. You're a great, brilliant, and wonderful friend. Also, as always, hashtag Mikey. You had to ruin it at the end. You were being so nice, Mort. And then, so I do want to say thank you for your ongoing support this year. As you all know, the last calendar year, all of 2022 and most of 2021 has been hot garbage for us. So your support through this year has meant a lot, through not being able to stream for a couple months, to being stuck in the apartment, to just the ongoing support from you all who come by every day has meant the absolute world to me, and I thank you so much for that. It's been a rough year, but next week, next year is going to be better. I keep saying that and it never happens, but we're going to try. Mags, it's a lot of biddies. Thanks for making this year more bearable. Really appreciate you. Thank you, Mags. That's a lot of biddies. Thank you. So make sure you hang out. We're going to raid somebody. Spread that tug love. Frank, thank you so much for 3 months. Thank you so much for the prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you, Will. So hopefully next year, we're going to hit the new schedule. We're going to play a lot more games. We're going to have a lot more fun. We're going to do a lot of stuff. Hopefully at some point next year, I'll take a very quick stream break to move into a new house, and we'll move on from there. So thank you all so much for your support. Genuinely, it means the world. It's been a rough year, and this has been my happy place. So thank you. Why does this sub sound like someone joking on a meat stick? Listen, Mort, I was simply reading text in a game, okay? So have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Have a happy and safe new year. I will see you bright and early on Monday morning for more games. So until then, as always, as ever, remember, be good to each other. Bye, everybody. And thank you, Boofs.